Chapter 20. Jeramie went over to Nate's room and got fresh clothing for Aalliyah. Then he went outside to the backyard where she was lying in the grass, wrapped in the blanket in a tiny ball, crying. "May I keep you company?" he inquired. "Yes, because you're the only good person in my life right now," she said through sniffles. "I brought you clothing." He handed it to her and turned away, but she changed entirely under the blanket anyway. "You can turn around." He did and sat beside her in the grass. Cautiously, he put his arm around her, and she pulled closer, needing the comfort. "I don't even know what words I could possibly say to you." She met his eyes and saw tears falling. "Why are you crying?" "Because he hurt you, and I can't stand it." She ran her hand down his cheek and pulled the tears away with her thumb. Then she requested, "Tell me what happened last night. I need to know everything." "I'll tell you right now, I didn't sleep with you, and that is a fact. Nate confessed to me that he lied you there as an effort to frame us to cover up his own actions with Lucy. He also said he was with her for 2 years. Of course he was. It makes sense. It would be right about when he started going to Cambridge. I knew he was distant, and now I know why. Plus, that explains his reaction to finding out I was with child and why he was so bothered by it. He wasn't in love with me. My miscarriage created fewer problems for him with his other relationship. It all makes sense now. I'm sorry I didn't believe you when you proposed he was cheating." "It's fine. I didn't even believe myself. I thought for sure I had to be wrong. I hate that I wasn't. I can't be here, not when he lives here. I could not possibly bear the pain of seeing him every day, but I have nowhere to go. I wish my adoptive parents were still alive because I could go there until I found a place of my own." "Aalliyah, Nate said he will leave so you and I can stay." "Fine, but I'll sleep on the couch. There's no way I'm sleeping in his bed again." "If you are up to it, there is another bed available. Just an option to consider. I'm used to sleeping alone, but you're not." "I'll let you know tonight, thank you." Nate is going to be working on moving out as much as he can today. Where would you like to spend the day? "The preserve." "Do you want me to drive us?" She shook her head. "Would you like to walk?" She nodded. "Well, neither of us ate anything yet. Would you like to go out someplace first?" "I'm not very hungry, but I could definitely go for a cup of coffee and maybe a scone. Can we go to the place near the library?" "Of course." He stood up and then helped her to her feet, tossing the blanket over the rail of the patio. With his arms still wrapped around her, they set off for town. After walking a few blocks, they arrived at the coffee shop. The worker at the front smiled and happily greeted. "Good morning, Aalliyah. It's good to see you. We miss you now that you don't come here every day since you stopped working at the library. Would you like your usual?" Aalliyah nodded and softly added, "And a scone today, please." "Sure thing. Is that all?" She nodded. "All right. That is £250. "I'll get it," declared Jeramie. "No, please," Aalliyah begged. "Aalliyah, I don't mind. You had a hard enough morning as it is. Let me do this for you. You don't understand. I need to get it myself. I'll explain later." He sighed and let her do as she requested. Jeramie then ordered his, and the two sat down at one of the tables. Finally, Aalliyah stated, "The day after Nate and I met, he was here and bought my coffee. I value your friendship, Jeramie. I didn't want to lose you too." He sighed. "And you're afraid if I do anything he did, I'm going to hurt you too." She nodded. "I am so sorry. I promise I will never leave you. I will never hurt you like you did. I know right now you likely feel like you can't trust anyone, and I don't blame you. But I swear you can trust me. I know I can." The two finished eating and then headed over to the preserve. Immediately, Aalliyah seemed to be feeling better. Being in nature, when with Melody, seemed to be helping her, or at least distracting her from her pain. All was well until her phone rang. She smiled, seeing it was her biological mother, Lisa, and she answered it. "Hi, Mom. Just warning you you're on speaker. I'm at the preserve." "No worries, honey," replied Lisa. "I'm not interrupting a healing session, am I?" "No, I wouldn't have answered if I was busy." "That's good. Last night was the dance, right? How did it go?" Aalliyah cautiously stated, "I don't remember most of it." "Oh, that's my little Irish girl, all right. For special nights such as that, you really ought to try to drink less so you remember it later. How are you and Nate doing?" Aalliyah felt a knife fly into her heart, and her air got caught in her throat. Tears poured out of her eyes once again. "Aalliyah, are you still there?" Jeramie cut in. "Hi, Lisa, this is Jeramie." "Oh, hello, how are you?" Fine, I don't think right now is the best time to talk to Aalliyah. You are busy, aren't you? No, it's not that. She's not okay. What's wrong? Do I need to fly there immediately? Aalliyah shook her head. No, she broke up with Nate this morning. Oh my goodness, no wonder she's having a hard day. What happened? Jeramie looked to Aalliyah and she nodded, indicating she wanted him to tell her. Nate cheated on her for the past 2 years. Good gracious, I never expected him to be that type of man. He always seemed so genuine. That's awful. My poor Aalliyah. Hey, I'm really thankful she has you there helping her recover. Please help my little girl overcome this. I'm going to let you go so you can take care of her. The phone clicked off and Aalliyah's strength failed. She crumbled to her knees in a pool of tears. Jeramie sat down beside her and gently rubbed her back. She rested her head on his shoulder and gazed out at the preserve through blurry vision. Then she realized something and commented, Jeramie, Nate is your best friend, but he used you as a pawn last night. Are you okay? Was my best friend, Jeramie corrected. But don't worry about that. Yes, I'm upset that he used me to be with Lucy, but I'm more troubled by what he did to you. I cry because you cry, and not because of what he did to me. My concern is you and nothing else. A moment passed when neither said a word. Then Aalliyah declared, You were right, Jeramie. About what? Everything truly does happen for a reason. I couldn't imagine facing him to figure out visiting with our baby, and our little one wouldn't even have been born yet. I would have been all alone. A valid point, but you would not have been alone. I would have been right beside you as I am now. I will always have your back. And that's how you and him are different, she choked out. The two sat there for over an hour, and tears fell, and then ceased, and then fell again. Words were useless at this point, so they sat in silence with the exception of the commotion the animals created. Just before dinner time, Jeramie felt his phone vibrate and looked at it. It was a message from Nate that said, I left the house for the day. I got a decent amount of packing done. My parents will come tomorrow and help me move my stuff. It's a small house and I don't have too many things, so hopefully tomorrow will be the last day of moving. Please tell Aalliyah I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Jeramie quickly turned his phone away when he realized Aalliyah was reading over his shoulder. He didn't care if she read his messages, but he knew any mention of Nate would cause her more pain. However, he saw fresh tears falling and knew it was too late. The two walked back to the home, and Aalliyah sunk onto the couch, curling her legs up while Jeramie went to make dinner. They sat down to eat, and once again the silence continued. Jeramie didn't like it, and knew Aalliyah was suffocating herself that way, so he started a conversation about the preserve. When Aalliyah finished eating, she stood up without a word and went onto the balcony to gaze up at the night sky. Jeramie cleaned up the dishes and then went out to join her and found her in tears again. I don't understand, she cried. We were supposed to be together. We were supposed to have a future. We were destined to be together. The star of love told us we were meant to be, that we were soulmates, and I believed it. I don't understand how the stars could be wrong. Jeramie inhaled sharply and held it for a moment, clearly debating his next words. Cautiously, he offered, Don't lose faith in the legends just yet. The star of love could still prove true. How? Nate shattered me. He was the one that saw the star in the sky and in my eyes. Yes, but there is one small piece he forgot about or didn't realize. What is it? Now is not the time for me to tell you that. Why? Because you are in too much pain as it is. I promise I will tell you what it is, when the time is right, but it is significant. If you and Nate had known, it would have changed everything. Tell me. Jeramie placed his hand on her cheek and declared, I can't yet. You are too fragile, and knowing this will only make things worse. You need to heal first, and then I will tell you. Promise? Yes, I promise. How about we go inside so you can stop torturing yourself with reminders of him? She shook her head. The stars are still beautiful, even if they remind me of my time with Nate. Besides, the fresh air helps too. We can go inside shortly. Aalliyah only remained on the porch for a few more minutes before she was exhausted still from the previous night, but also from crying all day. She paused and met Jeramie's eyes. Would you mind if I joined you in your bed tonight? I can't be alone right now, she sought. He smiled and replied, I told you earlier I'd be happy to welcome you there if needed. Yes, you may. Are you sure? I would hate to keep you awake all night. You're tired. You will fall asleep and the pain won't keep you up all night. I didn't mean that. I meant because you're not used to sharing your bed with anyone. I would hate every time I shift if I woke you up. Last night I didn't even notice you were there until I woke up. I was also passed out drunk. He chuckled. There is that. Listen, don't worry. It'll be fine. Besides, you are worth losing sleep over. I would stay up all night and hold you just to make sure you're okay. I would do anything for you. I know you would. I'm so grateful for you. I apologize in advance if I put my arm on you. I'm used to someone being there. Stop fretting over little things. It's fine. You should get into your evening wear and grab your pillows. Will you be all right going into the room, or would you rather I go in and get the items for you? I'll be okay, she assured with confidence. All right, come to my room when you are ready. Jeramie returned to his room and first changed into his pajamas. Then he pulled his pillows over to the left instead of leaving them in the center where they had been. He went into the bathroom and brushed his teeth. Then he returned to his room and turned the side lamp on and turned out the overhead light. After that, he sat down on the edge of the bed and waited for his friend. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. The clock echoed, making every second pass. Jeramie watched as the minute hand swung and minutes disappeared. 10 minutes passed. Jeramie thought, maybe I should check on her. It's been a while. But maybe she is fine. I don't hear anything at all. She is a woman, so perhaps it takes her longer to get ready for bed. I know she has to brush her beautiful hair and who knows what else. I suppose I'll give her a bit more time. Jeramie let 5 more minutes go by before he knew something had to be wrong. He walked across the house and found the door to Nate's room ajar. Aalliyah was kneeling on the floor in a puddle of tears. In her hand she was clutching her dragon Nate had won at the carnival several years back. Oh, Aalliyah, sighed Jeramie, joining her and putting his arm around her. She said through sniffles, I was right. A dragon does represent evil and hidden secrets. Our relationship has become the dragon. He burned me with the breath of the dragon. Now all I am is ash. You are not ash. You are lava. You are the mountain. You are strong, and it will get better. You are going to get through this. I'll help you bring your pillows over. He held out his hand to help her up, and she took it and managed to rise to her feet. However, her legs nearly buckled, so he wrapped his arm around her shoulders, seeing as her strength was fading. He grabbed her pajamas and pillows and helped her back to his room. He started arranging the pillows on the bed in the same way she had them on the other bed. Then he went out of the room, pulling the door closed to give Aalliyah the chance to change. A moment later, she opened it, and Jeramie returned to his bedroom. He picked up Aalliyah's hairbrush, and she sat on the edge of the bed. Very gently, he started combing her silky hair and getting all of the knots from the day out. Then he set it on the nightstand next to her side of the bed. He got off of the bed and went around to the right side and crawled under the sheets. In another minute, Aalliyah joined him on the opposite side. Then Jeramie turned the lamp out. Good night, Aalliyah. I hope you sleep well. Good night, and thank you for everything, she responded. She turned her back towards him, hoping to fall asleep on her left side to avoid mistaking Jeramie for Nate. However, once she was asleep, unconsciously she flipped sides and coiled her arm over Jeramie's chest. Fortunately, she was so worn out, nightmares didn't plague her mind, and she remained fast asleep, completely undisturbed. Jeramie was the first to awake in the morning. He smiled, seeing her arms stretched across him and Aalliyah sleeping peacefully. Every part of him wanted to kiss her forehead or even cheek, but he resisted, knowing he couldn't push his luck. He hated knowing that likely when she would wake up, she would be reminded of all the pain yesterday had left her in. He could only hope she was feeling a little stronger today and would spend less time crying. All the words he could think to comfort her would dissipate as he spoke them, and wouldn't make a difference. He wanted to tell her Nate wasn't worth wasting tears on anymore, but to her she was in too much pain. It was the only way to let her emotions free. He debated if he wanted to risk waking her up to get out of bed or if he'd rather continue lying there. Aalliyah shifted and he gazed at her to see if she was waking, but she remained asleep. He figured, though, it meant soon she would rise, so he chose to remain, knowing if he moved she would wake up fully. Her eyes opened slightly, and a smile pulled on her lips, seeing Jeramie didn't abandon her. She lifted her arm from his chest and ran her fingers through his dark auburn hair. Softly she stated, "Thank you for staying with me, or I should say letting me stay with you. It helped." "You're welcome," he replied, brushing her hair out of her face. You are welcome in my bed any night. You don't need to ask. I wouldn't care if you made this your sleeping quarters from now on. I know if I was in your shoes, I would never want to sleep in the other bed again. Yeah, I really don't. I do not even want to go into that room, at least for several days. You saw what happened last night when I tried to face it. I can grab an outfit for you today if you would like. Then tonight after he leaves and we come back, I can work on bringing your clothing over to this room since it's your new official room. I would really appreciate that. So, what would you like to wear today? It's going to be hot, so a tank top and shorts will do. He nodded and crawled out of bed to go fetch the garments. That day at the preserve, Aalliyah managed to be more useful and spent less time sitting and crying. She was still in a ton of pain, though, and trying to be strong. Jeramie was watching her closely and saw she was faking how well she was doing in order to make it through the day. He told her he would be right back, and he needed to get something. Nearly 30 minutes passed before he returned to the main building. He smiled and held out a spiral-bound notebook, which she could tell was a journal. Finally, he explained, journaling how you are feeling is a wonderful way to deal with all these emotions you are experiencing. You don't need to wear a mask and pretend you are okay when you're not. You need to face the emotions and pain if you ever are to heal. I even brought you colorful pens. Jeramie, I really appreciate this, she began. But I never wrote in a journal before. That's okay. You can start now. Treat it like you're talking to a friend and let your thoughts pour out. Go on, give it a try. She took a deep breath and took a purple pen. She sat at the desk and turned the journal to the first page. Slowly the pen started scratching words. Soon the words rushed out of her and tears were pouring down her cheek. Jeramie observed her for several minutes and then put his focus on the computer and updating his charts. After a half hour went by, he looked over his shoulder and saw Aalliyah still writing. Just then she stopped and shook her hand, likely from it cramping and writing too much so swiftly. He climbed off the stool and went over to her. May I see your hand, please? She nodded and set the pen down. He grabbed her left hand and dug his thumb into the palm and wrist. Then he moved to the top of her hand and worked on every part of it, especially by her knuckles. A bit more he tended to her hand and then reported, That should help. She smiled gratefully and picked up where she left off writing. As she poured her thoughts out of heartache and anger, crystal tears continued to soak her cheeks. Shortly she stopped writing and rested her head on her arms upon the desk. Jeramie lightly rubbed her back for several minutes. How are you feeling? He dared to ask. Surprisingly better. I told you it would help. The more you write, the better you will feel. Do it daily if you must. I cannot thank you enough. If it helps you heal, there is no need to thank me. A week had gone by, and Aalliyah was feeling a bit better, but still the thought that she and Nate had reached the end of their story bothered her. She knew it was going to take a long time to truly get over him, and she had convinced herself she would never love anyone ever again. Regardless, she was grateful Jeramie remained by her side, helping her through this difficult time. It was one thing she knew for certain. He is a true friend. Currently, the two of them were in the fields with the animals. Jeramie opened the door to the storage shed to get a bag of feed for Melody and some of the other animals. Most of the time, the animals would eat off the land, but Jeramie liked giving them something extra, too. He leaned over and grabbed a 50-pound bag. Ow! Feather! He screamed and dropped the bag before falling to the ground. Jeramie, are you all right? Cried Aalliyah, rushing over. He was breathing heavily, and his face was twisted in pain. What happened? I moved my back the wrong way, and it pulled a part of it and pinched a nerve. What can I do to help? Nothing right now. It might fade on its own. I'll know tomorrow. If it doesn't fade by morning, I will need your help. You should take it easy and rest the rest of today. No, I'll be fine. Trust me, this isn't the first time this has happened. It's probably occurred more times than I can count. You were always at the library, and Nate would assist me, and most days I was back on my feet before you got home from work, so you never noticed. I don't want you to worry, though. I am truly fine. If you say so. Aalliyah didn't fully believe him, but went back to doing the task she had been doing prior to rushing over. When she finished, she saw he was still sitting on the floor and strolled back over to him. I'm fine, he insisted, knowing exactly what she was thinking. It just hurts, and I was avoiding getting up, but it's mildly better now. He started to stand and wince. Soon he was back on his feet. See? Fine, he reported through clenched teeth in an attempt to hide the pain he was truly feeling at the moment. The two arrived home in the evening, and Jeramie made a cup of tea for himself and drank it quite quickly. He sighed as he felt its power encompass him. For the first time all day, his back started feeling better. However, he was aware it was only temporary and would either be fine by morning or a ton worse. Given how it usually went, he was predicting he wouldn't be on his feet in the morning. The sun came streaming into the window, illuminating the room and bringing warmth. The heat awoke Aalliyah, and she saw Jeramie lying awake beside her. "How are you feeling?" she inquired. "Horrible," he answered, brutally honest. "I won't be getting out of bed today, or at least not until the afternoon. I told you to rest yesterday." "It wouldn't have made a difference, trust me. I really hate to trouble you, but I won't get better otherwise." "Jeramie, it will be no trouble. You are helping me, so helping you is the least I can do." "What do you need me to do?" "Open the drawer of my nightstand. There should be a book on herbs and healing techniques in my writing. On the first page, you'll find instructions to make an herbal cream. You can find all of the herbs in the kitchen. If you have questions, just ask me, but you do so well at the preserve, I have no doubt you'll master this task." Aalliyah nodded and set off on her mission. A bit passed, and she returned holding a bowl full of the paste. Jeramie surveyed the material and nodded approvingly. "Now what?" she sought. "I need you to rub it on my back. Once I flip over, if that's not too much to ask." "Not at all." He took a deep breath and struggled to sit up as his face twisted in pain. Then he tore his shirt off over his head. "I must warn you, I don't have a beautiful, pure back like you do." "I don't care," she chuckled. He turned over and lied on his belly. Aalliyah gasped, seeing a long scar down his back. Gently she ran her fingers over it. "My goodness, what happened?" "That accident my parents were in, so was I, but I managed to survive. I was severely injured and needed surgery to save my life. I pulled through. However, if I move the wrong way, I can easily pull my back out of place, and it will reawaken the pain forever seared into me. The cream I had you make works wonders. I had a nurse that introduced it to me. Actually, that's how I fell in love with herbs as medicine." "That's fascinating. You turned a tragedy into your life work." "I need you to layer my back with the cream and put it on thick, especially closest to the scar. You need to cover my whole back, though, placing it all the way from my shoulders to my hips in order for it to work. It's not like sunscreen, so you don't need to rub it in, and it can sit on my skin because it will absorb on its own." Aalliyah lightly kissed the scar and softly claimed, "I feel so bad for you. May I ask how you were the only one that managed to survive the crash?" "It was a head-on collision. I, of course, was in the back seat. A third car couldn't stop in time and smashed into the side where I was sitting, which is what destroyed my back. That car hadn't hit as hard as the front one, so I got very lucky." "I'm really sorry you had to go through that." Aalliyah dipped her fingers into the herbal cream and started spreading it onto his back, making sure to cover every inch and have it layered thick enough to mend him. "You are so gentle," sighed Jeramie. "And that's a good thing. I could fall asleep to your touch. It is so amazing." "Glad it is helping." Jeramie chuckled. "Nate would literally slap it on. He always tried to be gentle, but I think he was scared of touching the scar. Every time I needed him to put the cream on, he would do so fast. It's such a release having you do it instead. You literally have the hands of angels. I can see why Nate loved your physical touch so much. Anyone would be lucky to have your hands run along their skin. Like, seriously, your hands are so soft." She chuckled but didn't say anything. "I'm sorry if I'm making you uncomfortable." "You're fine," she replied, grinning. "It's entertaining hearing you describe my touch." "I hate to keep bringing up the sensitive subject, though." "It's all right. I'm getting better." "May I ask, did Nate ever comment on how heavenly your hands are?" "He never did. I could tell he welcomed my touch, but he never verbally expressed it." "From what I could tell, your relationship was very physically based, maybe even more than emotionally, and it went both ways." "How do you know that?" Innocently, Jeramie chuckled and dared to inform. "Nate was my best friend. He told me things I should not have known, but he couldn't stay silent. He would tell me how his fingers would trickle down your skin and how he ran your hand along him. I won't go into the details. You know well how you two spent many nights, but I always wondered something, but I don't know I should ask it." "Just ask it. I don't care how awkward of a question it may be." "Did you like that your relationship was very physical, or did it bother you more than anything, and you couldn't get yourself to tell him? Aalliyah sighed heavily. Both. He was very emotionally detached, and I sometimes questioned his love. But then he'd take me under his fingers, and I would feel what I didn't during the day coming from his coarse fingertips. Coarse? Yeah, his fingers were always rough around the edges and not delicate like yours. I know I only ever felt your hands on my back, like when I fell on the ice, but I could feel a drastic difference between you and Nate. You had feelings for me then, and I could tell it was deep emotionally. You aren't a physical love person, and your touch is only gentle to show affection and not build a bond as his was. If I ever have the courage to be in another relationship, I would want it to be with a guy that treats me like you do. I'd much prefer a deep emotional connection over the physical nightlife. I learned with Nate, if his body is in the relationship but not his heart, there's truly nothing. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the shivers his touch would send through me, and it was amazing, but it was the little things I looked forward to. It was the nights of ice skating and holding hands I cherished the most. When he started cheating, I felt his emotional detachment become stronger. The little moments disappeared altogether, and that is why I was struggling so badly. So you felt him creating the distance between you both, and that's why you were trying to see if I noticed too? You were trying to confirm your suspicions, but didn't know how to express what you were feeling to me. Aalliyah nodded. And physically, he stopped being so gentle. Before Lucy, he was extremely careful not to hurt me, but once Lucy became his lover, he didn't care anymore. You heard me shriek that one night, but it wasn't the only instance. The other times just didn't cause as much pain. Many times I fell asleep in tears. I knew something wasn't right in our relationship, but I didn't know how to confront him on it. Looking back, I'm certain he was being extra forceful with me because he was trying to convince himself he loved me more than Lucy. Aalliyah stopped talking for a moment and wiped her tears away. In short, most nights I didn't mind his touch, but I would prefer an emotional bond for a relationship. Sorry, I know that was a really detailed answer. Jeramie remained silent, but he was shaking. Aalliyah was going to ask if he was cold, but then realized he was crying. As she continued rubbing the cream onto his back, she inquired, "Why are you crying?" "Because I'm mad at Nate for hurting you like that. I had no idea he was being so hard on you. I wish I could have done something to save you from him. I wish he hadn't dragged it out for as long as he had. I wish I could reverse all the pain he caused you, physically and emotionally. You didn't deserve any of that." "Oh, Jeramie," she spoke and ran her hand on his cheek. "I'm okay." "No, you're not. Don't lie to yourself. In your mind, you've decided to say it was okay, that he was treating you as such, and forced yourself to put up with it. But you shouldn't have had to. The girl you end up marrying will be so lucky to have you as her protector. You are just so caring." He grabbed her cheek then and replied, "I hope that girl will be you. I would lay my life down for you." "I know you would. And I also know you are nowhere near ready to even think of another relationship. So please don't think I was indicating we get together. I would never do that to you, not when you are in so much pain from losing Nate. If my heart chooses you, I will let you know, but don't hold on to me in case you are missing the one you are meant for. Plus, goodness knows how long it will take me to be ready to open up my heart again, if ever. You can't let Nate ruin your love life. I promise not all men are as awful as him. There are good men out there that would never hurt a woman. I know, and I know you are one of those good men. I'm just not ready to risk my heart like that again." She wiped away her tears and then cleared them away from Jeramie's face and changed the subject. "So, how long does the cream need to sit?" "A few hours," he answered. "Will you need me to put more on later because I'll need to make more cream?" "Likely not. Most days one round is enough. It is a rare occasion if I need it more layered once. Typically, after it seeps into my skin, I start feeling better. Slowly then I make my way out of bed. I still have to take it easy the rest of the day, though. Then the following morning, I usually am back to myself. Thank you again for helping me." "Well, the number of times you've helped me heal outnumber how many opportunities I've had to assist you, so I need to do all I can."